get to the competitive advantage of BiggerPockets.
Investors?
No surprise, the competitive advantage is you. It's the user, right? I'm sorry, there's a lot of text in this slide, but I'll go through. I'll break this down. We've got a community of over 1.2 million users on our platform. You guys are constantly debating real estate investing topics in our forums, right? So what's different about BiggerPockets than most other places on the internet where you can learn about real estate investing is you're going to get a variety of perspective from really intelligent people who have thought about these concepts over a very long period of time. Using Jay Scott again as an example here, he's posted 20,000 times to our forums over the course of a decade, right? Jay Heinrichs is here, and he's done a similar thing. These are massive amounts of contributions to our platform. These guys have incredible experience and tons of experience writing and interacting with people all over the website. They understand the problems that our users have better than anybody else can. So these discussions in our forums end up being high-ranking pieces of content in Google, right? If someone has a question about real estate investing, chances are they're going to type that in, and the best answer to that question is going to be a piece of content that's come through our forums or our blog, right? Over the course of these thousands of posts and years, decades in some cases, we're able to clearly identify some folks who have really good writing ability, great experience in real estate, and just are generally good people, right? You can't fake that over 5 years and get that and put that out there. So that goes on to produce blog posts for us. We'll invite folks to come on our podcasts. There will be videos. Some of the book authors have come through that community, right? This is how we're able to produce traffic, and it's a tremendous advantage for our business that we are extraordinarily grateful for here. And I want to communicate that to all of you. That is that please give some of our big contributors and yourselves a big round of applause for that. That is, we're so grateful for that. This is a huge positive, and then again, this is a positive feedback loop, right? So as these kind of perpetuate, more discussions follow, more content follows from that, and then more traffic and our community grows. So this is how our business is growing here. Here it is. Here's a visual of it, right? We have a community that's generating content, right, which generates traffic, which generates more community, and so on and so forth. Right? All right. Let's move into who our users are on BiggerPockets. All right, so here's some. I'm going to answer this in 3 ways. One, I'm going to talk about demographics. Then I'm going to talk about some of the qualitative factors of our users, and then I'm going to talk about what the users' problems are. Right. So 80% of our users earn between $50,000 and $200,000 per year. Most of our audience is in this middle to upper middle class echelon, right? It's not really a huge percentage of our users that are super rich investing in real estate. Real estate's accessible to middle to upper middle class Americans, but it's not accessible to people who are earning below a median income, right? This shouldn't be a huge surprise for everybody. One other defining characteristic is that 75% of our users are male. We do need to do a much better job inviting women to the industry at scale, right? That's a really important component of what we're doing, right? So do expect over the years more content from prominent women investors, right? This is a huge opportunity for growth in our industry, and it's a failure of the whole industry to not have that ratio more evenly split there. 45% of our users own at least one investment property, not including their home. 49% don't invest. That remaining sliver classify themselves as vendors, like service professionals, agents, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of overlap, right? So an agent on BiggerPockets might be an agent who represents investors who are trying to buy real estate, and that person's also trying to buy investment properties, right? So there's what are they? Are they an investor? Are they an agent? Well, it's all what you self-classify as. So there's a lot of nuance going in here. Why does someone post on BiggerPockets? Well, there might be a financial benefit if they're an agent, but they also may just love talking about real estate. I've got a friend in Denver who's posted several thousand times, and I'll make fun of him a little bit here, but he told me once, like, hey, you know what, you want to have a good time? Go to the courthouse on Wednesday morning. That's when you'll see the landlord-tenant disputes, and man, there's some good stuff. And I'm like, okay, I understand why you posted 5,000 times on Bigger Pockets. It's very fun to discuss those kinds of things. So the interesting thing about our audience, though, after this, is that there's really not anything that unifies our users based on demographics, right? We really are spread out over all these different types of demographics. There's no ethnicity, there's no geographic barriers, besides U.S. presence, of course. But there's nothing in there. It's everybody. There's no age. We have users from in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all those different types of things. Do not give a picture of our users. So perhaps a better way to kind of think about our users is their interests, right? Almost everybody on Bigger Pockets wants to own rental properties, right? They want the passive income. Those who are interested in other types of investing, like flipping or note investing or rehabbing or all those different types of things, are interested in that primarily as a means to an end of having passive income through rental properties, right? Quitting their job is really, who here wants to quit their job? Who here is that's the primary, thing. So who here, let me try this. Of the people who didn't raise their hands, who doesn't have a job or owns their own business? So that's pretty much everybody, right? Everybody wants to quit their job and own a business, or has already done so here. That's what motivates the folks here on Bigger Pockets. That's what we're helping them to do, right? What unifies our users is what they're reading elsewhere, right? Almost everybody, who here has read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Right? Who here has read The 4-Hour Workweek? Right? This is what unifies the users on Bigger Pockets, right? Is this kind of interest. The folks on Bigger Pockets are not buying real estate exclusively. Who here owns stocks, bonds, or a small business outside of their real estate investments, right? So pretty much everybody also owns assets that are not real estate. Real estate is one component of the overall portfolio for our user base, right? So these are all different things these are the things that are unifying the people on Bigger Pockets, not demographic data, right? Which is an interesting challenge for us internally when we're looking at how to serve our community, right? And then a majority of our users, 65% or more, are interested in 1 to 4 unit properties. That still leaves a large amount of interest in other things, but who here has bought or is intending to buy quickly in the next year or two a 1 to 4 unit property? Right. So this is a major part of that. So thank you for verifying all these things. Man, there's a lot of gambles there, but yeah, I appreciate you guys backing me up on that. All right, so let me before I go to the next slide, can anyone guess what they think the major problems for our users are? What's one major problem that a user on Bigger Pockets is having right now in their real estate investing careers? You cheated. I already told you that one. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, okay, that's it. But yes, that's the major one, right? Okay, so that's one. What's another one? Not you, Craig. You can't go. Long distance team building. That's interesting. That's very specific. Yeah. Finding deals was the first one, right? So who here has trouble finding deals? Let's try that one. I'm getting a lot of hand raising going. No, the 3 biggest problems for our users are finding deals, financing deals, and getting started, right? There's a whole myriad of other types of problems that they're having, but these are the 3 big ones. And it's not close between these 3 big ones, right? The finding deals is way more of a problem for our investors than funding them or just generally getting started. So our goal here is going to be to focus on helping people find deals, right? No surprise. So how are we going to do that? Well, 2 ways. First, we're going to connect users with agents, right? We believe that there is no good system right now for people to find investor-friendly agents on the internet, right? If I want to go and find an agent, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to ask somebody in that area that I trust for a referral, right? Now, the problem with that is I may know a lot of people in that area, but I may not fully trust that person's referral for a $300,000 or $500,000 investment, right? So can Bigger Pockets step in and help you here? I think we can. And the idea here is we can show 4 data points about agents to you, the users, that are looking to invest in various places, maybe long distance. This might help solve your long distance problem that you mentioned earlier. And those 4 data points are going to be the number of posts you've got on BiggerPockets, the number of votes, the number of deals you've done with other BiggerPockets users, and then the references that you've received from other BiggerPockets users ranked by that user's experience and then posts and votes, right? The amount of contributions there. This is by no means be a foolproof method of helping you find an agent, but it will definitely be another additional way to kind of vet professionals that you're going to work with. And we think we can apply this to a number of different industries. So this is going to be a major project this year. We're going to roll out the first iteration of this in the next couple of weeks here, so you're getting a little preview of this prior to our release of it. But we believe that this is going to be, I guess I would love to take 1 second here and get some feedback on this. You know, you can just nod or whatever. Do you think that this would be a helpful solution to you guys as you're trying to find service professionals in the marketplace, and that this would kind of help along that search? Right? We're trying to go in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it'd be a big help.
Awesome. So, you know, and we think that this is, you know, giving you this information is a far better experience than you can really find on the internet right now in a lot of markets where you're might be trying to invest for the first time. Go ahead, question.
Are you going to roll it out to things like property managers and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, the plan is to build this in such a way that we can roll it out to other different types of directories, like a property management directory, maybe a lender directory, and then maybe downstream going into lawyers, accountants, all that kind of stuff. But for now, we're going to work with agents because, again, that's the biggest problem that our users are having, right? Now, the next way we're going to solve the problem of finding deals, or we're going to attempt to help with that, is by creating a marketplace. Has anybody ever looked at the BiggerPockets marketplace and looked for deals?
Yes.
You know, previously it was kind of just a forum, so it wasn't really easy to filter through these things. And we think that in the marketplace, there's really a big missing piece here when you're looking for a property where Zillow doesn't really show you what the cap rates of a property could be, how they're going to be related to that. There's all these different types of deals that are there that you have to filter out that are not tailored or targeted to investors. So we're going to have our user base, you know, post deals to the marketplace. Right now, we've rolled out this in beta in the last couple of weeks. I think we've got like 2,500 listings on here. So go check out the marketplace. There are a number of listings there to go and see. And the idea here again is that, hey, you can come on BiggerPockets, you can look at deals right there. You can, you know, see what users in that area may have bought recently. As I told you, we can post those deals onto your platform, and then see how they compare to what's being posted there. And this will just be one more stop, one more place where you can go to find investment quality deals on the internet. So we'll pipe them in from enough platforms to make sure that there are a good number of high quality investment deals. And then of course it'll still be up to you to vet them and find those things. But we think that this will help enhance that search, give people that are wholesalers or agents the ability to market these deals to investors at scale across the country with a great filtering system. Any questions about these 2 product priorities? All right. Let's go into management and operations, how we kind of run the business here. So this is going to be a shift away from how we're kind of helping the users to how we're driving enterprise value, right, which is my job. So this is a shift away from helping the users to kind of how I think about running a business, the business of BiggerPockets. All right, so I'm gonna, you know, there's some information here, so you can read this, and I can send it out to you if you're interested in kind of coming through this. But I want to go through my operating philosophy, right? And I built this up from the individual level. So I believe that when you get to a certain size of business, and I've done a lot of research on this, and this is a choice that I've made, and again, I caveated that at the beginning, so I'm figuring this out. But I believe that it's really important that once you get to a certain size, you start isolating individuals to specific KPIs within your business, right? And why is that? Well, if someone has 2 metrics at your business that they're responsible for, and one of them goes up and one of them goes down, how are you going to hold that person accountable for results, right? In that, you know, so what I've done at the business is my philosophy is I isolate individuals to have one KPI that they're responsible for within the business, right? Next, I make sure that at a weekly meeting each week, these individuals are accountable for 4 things. 1, they have to show me excellent data on how their metric is doing. And you would have no idea how hard it is to get good data on a regular basis. Does anybody here have a team, a business, does anybody here run a business? Yeah? You know, how hard is it to just have accurate data in that, right? I mean, it is a constant struggle, and you have to constantly challenge it, and you have to come back to it every week. I am so skeptical of dashboards or anything like that, any third-party thing that can come in and just solve that problem for you. Never happen. Every week, the person responsible for the KPI has to collect their data and then eyeball it, make sure that they can verify it and check it against something to make sure that it's correct, right? The second thing is, I want to know why things are going on with that metric, right? Why is traffic to the website up, down, or sideways? Can you explain that? Do you have a convincing case? Do you just basically understand that, right? Third, what have you done recently that has been impacting that metric? Right? Do you understand the correlation between your recent actions and then metric success? Right? And then fourth, what's the strategy that you're going to put in place? Okay. Once those four things are set, now is where I can begin to manage. Right? Now is where I can begin to do my job. Right? And so there's once I have this in place, there's only four possible outcomes that can happen. Right? One is I like their plan, I like their execution, and things go up. Two is I don't like their plan, but their stuff goes up anyways. Three is I like their plan and it doesn't work out. And then four is I don't like their plan and it doesn't work out. So only one outcome is unacceptable, right? Which is that I don't like their plan, don't like their execution, and things go down. I'm very happy to reward luck. I'm very happy to reward a great plan that just didn't work out, that we all thought was going to work out, and that we tried our best on. Just not happy to reward poor execution, poor planning, and then of course a poor result. So this sounds like a very heavy individual thing, right? And you can see some problems that might arise from having this level of accountability on specific KPIs. The way that I kind of try to address having people get isolated into their metric is, in spite of having a very heavy focus on individual performance against specific KPIs, I then go ahead and reward the entire team for team output. So I'll have a big bonus if the team hits the revenue target or hits our traffic target or whatever. That's how and it doesn't matter if you failed individually or succeeded individually, it matters what the team did, right? So any questions about my operating philosophy? I know it's a lot that I'm running through here. Sorry, what's that? How big is the team? The team is we have a team of 30. About half of that team is going to be in support roles, like our product team and engineering. So this really applies to the people who are working on our KPIs, on our core business value drivers. Go ahead.
Will multiple people have the same KPI?
Never.
So within that 1.4, how are plans generated collaboratively, or is it very much in isolation and then
Okay. So the question is, are plans generated by individuals, or are they generated by the entire team collaboratively? And the answer is both, right? So let's use traffic as an example, right? So and I'll get to this in a little bit, describing what I think of as our KPIs. But traffic is the lag indicator of a lot of things that we're doing. Is everyone familiar with the concept of a lead versus a lag indicator? Right? A lead indicator in our business might be the number of blog posts we produce, and the lag indicator might be the number of page views read on our blog. See how that works? There's one thing influences the next. So our traffic plan is built up by website, podcast, video, social, all that kind of stuff, right? And the person in charge of video traffic, right? I expect him to work collaboratively with the rest of the content team to have a strategy in place to drive that forward that works together with everything that we're doing, right? So that's how we're doing that, because we want the team to win, and the team wins when each individual also wins. Okay? Reasons why I like this approach, and by the way, there's a lot of alternatives to this approach, right? So an example, one of the things that you might notice with this is like, hey, that video person has to be in charge of producing, marketing, editing, copy, writing, operating, all of the different things that may not be his or her skill set, right? They've got to figure out all of these different things. But I like this because it allows me to keep everybody accountable, right? There's no blame game on marketing if something goes poorly. There's no, it's not sales fault. It's not operations fault, right? It is, I'm responsible for this. I committed to it. I set a target, and then I'm going to deliver or not, right? It has a marked effect on ego. When I ask someone to do something or make a change, that person is going to not try to implement their idea. They don't look good when they implement their ideas. People don't look good when they do that. They look good when they produce a result that helps our users and helps our business, right? And I think that that's very powerful motivator to be receptive to ideas, which can be a really big problem for folks that are kind of growing a business when you're getting past those first 5, 10 people and getting into growth mode and outside of just kind of that startup phase, right, where everyone's just kind of scrambling together. So this is a major improvement there for us. It allows me to move people who aren't working out, right? So this may sound silly, but it can have a big effect on morale. If you have to move somebody, take somebody off of a key metric, right? If you have to change their responsibilities or effectively demote them or make a change, right? That is not just because I'm the leader of the company, that doesn't mean that I can do those things without creating an effect on morale. But when we have a team goal and a team incentive, and someone's not performing, I can move them. And it's not a punishment. It's a way to improve the operations and get somebody else on that and then try to find their strengths in another area where they might be better suited, right? So another big advantage for me for that. And when it comes to time for performance reviews, this is an objective measure of performance, right? It's a number that they're performing against. Did they hit their expectation? Did we agree on that? Did we get there, right? And then, while folks obviously have to do things outside of their thing, because again, I'm incentivizing the team on performance, they're still willing to do that and not just focus on their individual thing. So, any questions about this? Go ahead, please. I'm sorry, can you say it a little bit louder? Look, I can describe that one to you in person if you'd like. I don't want to talk about that too much in detail here. But yeah, absolutely. All right, so some problems with this approach, though, again, relative to things like breaking out sales and marketing and all that kind of stuff are communication can be challenged, right? Marketing is not approving all of the copy and design, right? You may see some things on our site that are inconsistent with our branding in certain places, right? This is a problem that we need to approach to improve on, but definitely a result of this. There's competition over engineering and budget resources, right? People are aggressive about improving their things. They want to look good. We want to make sure that we're putting those things in the right places. And then, again, I think I've touched on this. People have to operate outside their traditional skill sets. All right. Meetings, right? This is what everyone in this room dreads more than anything else, I think, right? People are doing real estate and at this conference because they don't want to be involved in the weekly metrics meeting and have to get up at the same time every week, right? I find this to be absolutely vital to running a business, right? Again, if we go 1 or 2 weeks out without watching these things, without having these metrics meetings, things start to tank. It's that quick in our business, and it probably will be that quick in most of your businesses if you're not on top of these things as you begin to scale into 30, 40, 50, 100 people. I break out this weekly meeting across our different KPIs. So we have content go in week 1 of a month, conversion in week 2, B2B revenue in week 3, and then publishing, and then HR, so product and support, kind of lumped into that week 4. This allows me to get a good feel on everything on a monthly basis without having the meetings go very long. And again, we've never gotten this perfect. I'm 100% skeptical of every reporting dashboard in existence. You got to constantly update this thing. So any questions about the weekly meeting, I think, and I'm going to show you actually a couple of these things. So these are actually slides from our weekly meetings that I've pulled that show actual operating results. I did take out the scale for this. If you're interested in some of this, I can talk about it with you personally. One-on-one, I just don't want to publicly post some of the kind of key financial data. So this shows our aggregate traffic, right? We have website sessions, mobile sessions, video, podcasts, our traffic target, and then our total reach is the kind of cumulative of all these things, right? The KPI for our business. Next, here's an example of a conversion funnel, right? So this is our, an important thing for us is this number of people as a percentage who sign up to a free membership on our website based on our website traffic, right? So we track both the total number in that blue line and the conversion rate in the orange line to see how we're doing on that, right? We'll track this every week. We'll track our B2B revenue, right? This is advertising, affiliate, and lead generation revenue for our business, which is a growing revenue stream. And we'll break that out by source. We'll have a moving target line here, and then all that kind of stuff, right? This is our product portion of our business, right? We break out where is our product resources going? Are they going to that marketplace that I described as our top priority? Is our product team spending time on that agent directory that I described? Right? It's remarkable how off track you can get if you're not tracking where your big expenditures are going in your business, right? And this is a very easy visual way to do that. It's a beautiful mountain range that Ali, our program manager, has constructed for us. Hang on the wall one day. Okay, so any questions about KPIs, our operating rhythm, that kind of stuff?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When you say that everyone's got their individual KPIs, but you have a team level sort of success or failure, or they're either meeting and they're not. Like, first of all, are you aggregating the KPIs some way to establish that? And then second of all, like, how much shared responsibility do you find that team members have to like make sure that the whole team meets all their KPIs? And just maybe talk about that a little more.
Yeah, so for people who can't hear, the question is, if everybody's got their individual KPI, how am I tracking the team's progress towards that KPI in aggregate and motivating everybody around that?
Yeah.
Right? So if I go back a couple of slides, this is what I'm doing, right? I've got somebody who's in charge of website sessions, somebody who's in charge of mobile sessions, someone who's in charge of video, and someone who's in charge of the podcast, right? And each of them are working together to construct plans that are synergistic, tell me what they need from a budget perspective, resource perspective, time, engineering, all that kind of stuff, right? And then together, each of them is putting together an individual target that they think they can hit for their build-up metrics, and then I've got that target one up there, right? We obviously are way over our target, so we did not do a good job forecasting. That's a good problem, right? I can live with that one. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. All right.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Could you expand a little on your philosophy about being happy to reward luck?
Can I expand on my philosophy on being happy to reward luck? You will not last over time. You can get away with a good month, a good quarter, maybe 6 months, but over time, your ability or inability to produce a result according to this system will come to the surface, is my belief, right? You won't fool me, and I can tell after a couple of months who's getting lucky and who's doing the skill piece, right? I can watch those very carefully, and I can make changes where I need to make them, right? And again, never in like a mean way. I'm not going to like bring the hammer down or anything. In fact, I've never fired anybody at Bigger Pockets in my tenure, right? I've just moved people to places where I think they can be more effective and brought somebody else on where we're not getting the result we need, or where I believe that luck rather than skill is driving the day. Make sense?
Yeah, so basically you're just saying that a bad plan and a bad execution won't produce good metrics in the long run. So
that's right. A bad plan and bad execution will not produce good results in the long run, for sure. And I believe that if I'm unable to assess that, then I'm not good at my job, right? That's my job as the CEO and president of the company, right? That's your job as the owner, CEO, and presidents of your companies, is to assess that about the individuals in your team, and then not, again, to punish, but to reposition, right? It's a personal failure of mine if anybody is unable to perform, right? It's I put them in the wrong seat, right? They're a good person, they understand our business. How can I put them in a position to be successful and help our business? Make sense?
yeah, thank you.
Yep.
With that like semi-siloed approach, how do you think about the allocation of resources? If everyone's making a business case for the same limited resources, the hierarchy, autocratic, for lack of a better word, like you just make the call when gatekeepers allocate resources.
Yeah, so the question is, if everybody has a plan, everybody's going to need resources, and there's going to be competition for a limited pool of resources, right? So the answer to that is that, and I wasn't going to go into this today, but I'll go ahead and give you a quick outline. There's a system. You got to put a system in place to take care of this, right? That's not you making a judgment call about each one of these things, right? So we've got a system where we score a project based on its ability to, one, solve our users' problems, right? Our business succeeds when we help people buy real estate at scale and build wealth. Hands down, right? After that, how is that impacting our KPIs, right? So we score it based on benefit, we score it based on how much we think it will cost. Then we plot them out, right? X, Y. What's the highest reward, lowest cost project, and proceed in that order across these projects, right? And we're not perfect at this. This is a system that's going to take a lot of time, a lot of iteration to get correct, but that's how we're kind of going about that. And then once you've got a large number of those projects, it's about how do you scale the resources? How do you bring on or get more money, get more, product resources, engineers, that kind of stuff. Because can we hire consulting firms? Can we hire third-party firms? All that. How do we scale throughput and get more resources? So great question. All right, let's go into this one. Unless people have more questions on this. Comp benefits in HR. I think this is absolutely critical, by the way, once you get to our size. I don't know if it's necessarily that important at 5 or 10, right? Because again, you're still figuring out the pieces and everybody's all hands on deck for that size of business, right? When we're getting into here, this has got to be a major focus. So our compensation philosophy is pretty simple. We pay a base salary at the 50th percentile for the Denver market, right? So we're not under or overpaying there, right? This is not we have a competitive health, benefit, and retirement account package. And then we get into bonuses. This is how our team can we can be very highly competitive in terms of compensation for our team in Denver. We have a performance-based bonus plan tailored to individual performance, right? Where you can earn up to 5 to 10% of your base salary. Then we've got a performance-based bonus plan tailored to team financial performance, which I spelled wrong, sorry about that. That works like this. If the team hits our revenue target for financials, then every single person at the company gets a flat $3,000 bonus once per quarter. I get awarded $1,500 of that at the end of the quarter, and I hold $1,500 back to make sure we hit our year-end plan and don't have just a beat on that quarter. Make sense? So we can't just suck all the revenue into one quarter to try to get the bonus and then have a bad second quarter or whatever it is, right? So $1,500 awarded immediately, $1,500 held back towards the end of the year, up total potential of $12,000 per year, right? This, I believe, is highly motivating and a way to kind of help retain our team members, right? It's a big bonus that we don't have to give, but also is a good retention tool to get people to hang around for the rest of the year, make sure we hit our goal, so they can collect it. And then we have a fun perk system for non-financial performance. So if we hit our traffic target, which looks like we're going to crush this quarter, as you saw, I'll give everybody a PTO day to use at their discretion, and then we'll have a weekly office lunch that's pretty fun. Food is a really amazingly powerful motivator for teams once you get past maybe 15. It's always a powerful motivator, what I'm talking about. So definitely think about that as a motivator. And then lastly, here's kind of the management philosophy, right? I think that if you have these things in place, you're likely to have a successful team, right? So everybody at the company needs to understand exactly why the work we're doing is good for the world. I am very passionate about our mission. I hope that comes through. That's really important to me. It's really important to me that every single person in the company understands that that's really important and that it's good work that they're doing, right? Individuals need to understand exactly how their work drives business value, and they need to feel important, right? I've described that with our KPI set. Every single person understands exactly why they are necessary to us moving the business forward. Individuals need to feel that their opportunities for career advancement are faster at Bigger Pockets than they are at a competing organization, right? So we need to grow quickly so that they have opportunities to grow in their careers, right? And then they got to enjoy the work environment and the people in the office, right? Life is too short not to enjoy going to work every day, right? So we're not grinding it out at Bigger Pockets. We're not working, 10-hour days. Everyone's working an 8-hour day. Craig here works at Bigger Pockets. Craig, when's everybody out of the office by? 4 o'clock, right? So we're not an overload in terms of work hours here. We are performance and results driven. It is not a crazy environment. It's not the 4-hour work week. It's the 4 o'clock at the I don't know how to make a pun there. But winning is the piece that really matters here, right? People need to see on the scoreboard that the organization is winning, and the big problem and challenge with what I've got here is that this is working for now, but it will only work as long as your organization is winning. But I think it does also increase the likelihood of winning, right? Now, the result of all this is that we have not had a single person turnover at the company since June 2018, right? We have a 30-person tech company in Denver. Average turnover is, average tenure at a tech company is 2 years in our city. So, we should expect to see one person go every 3 weeks. That's not correct. 24 months. Yeah, we should have somebody leave almost every month, right? We have not a single person turnover, right? And we're going to do that. So that's my proudest stat here at Bigger Pockets. So with that, let's go to questions about mission, strategy, vision, Bigger Pockets, all that kind of stuff. Go ahead. Favorite business, so the question is, what are my favorite business books as it pertains to scaling a business like Bigger Pockets? Winning by Jack Welch is a really good one. He's a guy from General Motors, not General Motors, GE, yeah, sorry. Then there's the 4 Disciplines of Execution, 40X, has been really helpful. So I'd recommend actually start with those 2. Those are 2 of my favorite ones. I've heard really good things about Measure What Matters. I started it and I could not get through the different voices on Audible, so I'll have to get back to you after I read that one in print. But 4 Disciplines of Execution. Go ahead.
You answer your famous 4 that you always at the end of the podcast? You always ask?
Sorry, what's the question?
Can you answer your own famous 4 that you always did at the end of your Bigger Pockets podcast?
What is my favorite? All right, so the question is, should I answer my own famous 4? Man, you gotta put me on the spot here. All right, what is your favorite business book? If I'm going to answer it in relation to the podcast, I would say it's going to be The Millionaire Next Door. I know it's a little dated, but I think there's really good data on that in that book. I think it's got a really good perspective, and then I think he has really good opinions that he inserts in there as well. So it's a big shame. I don't know if you guys know, but the author of that died in a car accident. He was hit by a drunk driver a few years ago. So I'm still bitter about that. I would have loved to meet Dr. Stanley, but that'd be my favorite book there. What is my biggest mistake, money mistake? I bought a Corolla brand new. I should not have bought a new car. No one should buy a new car when they're getting started. Piece of advice what I have for people who are just starting out, set goals. I would say you set a written goal and go through that process. It is amazing to me how people do not back into what they want in life and use that as the starting point and then work towards that. So I think that kind of sets everything else up. And then, where can people find out more about me? Bigger Pockets. Oh, what's my favorite joke to tell at parties? Ooh. Oh, I have a really long one. Tell you what, I'll tell you the joke after this. It'll take about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So, thank you for sharing the information about your project. That was really cool to see what's coming up. And it makes me think that you must be doing a lot of interesting user research or sort of customer research, because these insights are clearly helping to shape your upcoming product innovations. So I'm just wondering if you could speak about as a software designer, I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about your user research or customer research.
So how do we do customer research is the question at Bigger Pockets. So there's a number of things. One, in-person meetings. No way to get around that, right? I try to meet with a person from Bigger Pockets in Denver at least twice a week for coffee, personally, right? And I have the team do that as well. I think there's no substitute for meeting as many people as possible and talking about Bigger Pockets, right? I try to meet with some of the users that have been around for a while quite frequently as well, and get more of that. I did not do as much as I should have a few years ago, and it's definitely something that I need to do a little bit more of. Then we have a lot of data that we capture when people sign up. So we see, hey, here's the things that people say they want. Then we see what people are doing and kind of try to marry those 2 things. And then the question is, are actions or things that people say about themselves, are those things predictive of what they're doing, or are they just correlated, right? So is the fact that someone is posting to the forums predictive of them buying a real estate investment, or is that correlated? Is it just people who happen to buy them? If someone posts to the forums, is that saying that we should drive more people to post to the forums so that they'll buy real estate? Or is that just saying that people who are more likely to buy real estate in the first place are also more likely to post to the forums? it's chicken or egg, right? So it's a lot of trying to drive different changes in behaviors and see what results in our users' success. Because we are successful when our users transact on an investment property that they believe will advance their financial position. So, does that answer your question? Great. Yes? Hey. Start, stop, and keep doing. Okay. So one of the things I want to start is we have this good plan of data. You know, what happened, why did it happen, what have you been doing lately, what's your strategy going forward. A big piece I think now is having folks keep themselves accountable. Here's what I think, here's what I'm going to commit to doing this next week, and here's how I did on that, right? So I think that's one of the things that we need to start doing to do a little better, and it's not me telling people what to do, it's them committing to their own things there. So that's the start. Things to stop doing. We need to really concentrate our projects. So I am notorious for having an idea a minute, and I need to just stay on the one thing that we need to do in that end. And the thing we need to keep doing is our weekly metrics meetings. Right, I think that those, yes, they're a meeting, yes, they suck everybody's time out of the day for 15, 30 minutes, but I think that they're incredibly important to us to continuing to make progress against our goals and always stay on track. Question? Do I have any tips on how to write content or get my name out there? Yeah, it's a different topic. I love talking about this one. I think that if you're starting to write, what is the purpose of writing? The purpose of writing is to be read. Right? So if you're not going to get read if you're saying something that everyone agrees with, right? But that's very obvious. You're not going to get read if you don't work on your title, right? If your title doesn't, the purpose of the title is to get people to click on click on or read your article, right? You got to promote it and get that out there, and you got to have an opinion on something that is interesting or different that I think will come up there, and then you got to be consistent, right? So I kind of have trailed off on a little bit of the writing because of some of my responsibilities at Bigger Pockets, but I try to stay consistent all the time with my content output through the Bigger Pockets Money podcast, right? So I think it's really about that consistency and then understanding that it will take several years of consistency there to do that. Am I running out of time?
You got 5 minutes.
5 minutes, all
6
right.
minutes.
6
Keep on
minutes.
going. You're doing great.
Great. Thank you for that question. Yep. Keep going.
What kind of data do you guys look at trends along the lines of topical content and try to build a different content? Those, how do you use the data that you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely. So Allison on our team runs that kind of arena from a strategy perspective. So, and then we can get into the tactics, right? So a strategy might be we need to figure out a way to increase the volume of high quality content put out by the very capable women investors on Bigger Pockets, right? So that we can make the site more inviting, the state and the industry more inviting to more women, right? So that might be a strategy, but a tactic that we might be pursuing in the short term that comes to mind is Trump tax code, right? We want to rank for all of that kind of stuff because that's going to come up in the next couple of weeks and people are going to have a lot of questions about it. And we think that there will be a lot of interest around that, from a traffic perspective over the next couple of weeks. So we're definitely trying to put out content that we think will be relevant at the right time. Right. Another big one is recession-proof real estate investing. So, we might have noticed and been paying attention that we've made a little bit of push around that, championed by a certain someone. So there's a lot of things around that are relevant to what we think we are on our users' minds and going to be helpful at the right times. So, yep.
So I think the push to
Oh, great. We got a mic now.
Sweet. So I think the push to have more women on your podcasts, both money and real estate, is awesome. But I'd like to also suggest that you consider having more diversity as well beyond just women. For example, the number of people who are not white is pretty low on the podcasts, and I don't know if there's ever been an LGBTQ kind of person interviewed either.
No, that's great. I think diversity in general is very important. I do think that well, yeah, I think it's a great point. I think we've done a little bit better job recently on the podcast with some of that, but it's a little different. We don't really go into those things, and you can't tell someone's ethnicity by listening to the podcast or anything like that. So there has been a good bit of that recently, I think, where we've actually done a push for that. But we need to make it more visible and highlight it, so that we can again make everything more inviting to large amounts of people. So I think that's good feedback.
When are you going to have your first LGBTQ speaker?
You got a question right here.
First LGBTQ speaker? I'll ask, but I just haven't inquired as to that status for any of our guests. So I
Fair
don't know
enough,
if there's been a lot or not. I haven't done enough research on that one.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Yeah.
Have you considered taking outside funding to help you scale?
So we, I guess I can share this. We recapitalized in November of last year. So we do have some, a little bit more of a growth focus now.
Hi, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I got handed the microphone.
Oh, there
This
you
is
go. I'm sorry.
a little bit of a long question. So I'm a real estate lawyer, and I get contacted by a lot of people on BP who have been working with some strange real estate gurus who give them a lot of misinformation about how to get rich quick. And I spend a lot of time trying to explain to them that real estate isn't really a get rich quick thing, and that if they've never done a real estate transaction ever in their life, they probably shouldn't start with wholesaling. I'm wondering if there's some way for BP to help all these people so that they're paying these kind of swindlers to teach them techniques that are fraud or, violation of state real estate laws, brokerage laws. And if there was some way that BP could list people who are untrustworthy, or don't give your names and don't give your money to these types of people, or how to recognize fraud in real estate so that they don't get trapped by some of these people, because I spend a lot of time helping them doing what some of these people do.
No, I think it's a great question. This is a major part of my job. It's something that's very tricky that I have to be very careful of from a legal standpoint, right? Now, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that we happen to isolate the one guy who really isn't a guru, who really is doing a good job, and then we defame him, right? So I step in and I take an action on behalf of Bigger Pockets against a guru who is scamming people, right? Who we think is scamming people, and I'm wrong, right? Well, I've just taken a huge liability for Bigger Pockets that I can't afford, right? We cannot be detective for these guys. What we can do. Yeah. What we can do though is our community, right? So Jay will be very sure to make sure that people know that there's a little bit of a something to be watching out for this person, right? So the users will come in and they'll comment. They'll say, hey, this person is bad news, and then that post will go and rank top of Google. So the worst thing I can do is anything, right? I should just do nothing, and our forums and the law will protect Bigger Pockets and me from any liability by having our users go ahead and post that information, and then that will go on to rank first in Google and all that kind of stuff. So our community is already producing that result that you're describing at scale amongst a large number of shady characters, right? The best thing I can do is nothing, right? If I get involved, that's where I start hurting the business of Bigger Pockets, but our system's already allowing, like you type in certain people's names into Google, you will see certain results on Bigger Pockets that are effectively doing what you're describing because of the organic work of what's going on, right? And I think that's one of the powerful things about our business, and something that our job is to do nothing there, right? We cannot play detective. We can be right, we can be wrong. As long as we can stay out of it and just allow that to occur naturally, that's between the person posting and the person being posted about, not between Bigger Pockets and anybody. So, does that answer your question? Oh, I see. They usually do. I would say the often those forum posts will usually stay up there for a long period.
And I think we may have time for just one more question, possibly two. People are going to come in. Just one up here.
Yes, so I think I'm next. I have the microphone.
Go ahead.
Okay, so just to piggyback on what the lady said, in the last couple of years, it seems as though there's been a proliferation of organizations such as yours, if they're not similar, then forgive me, but a large number of organizations that are pitching to real estate investors. You can't turn on the radio or watch TV without somebody saying, "Oh, you can get rich quick or go broke more slowly by investing in real estate." So the question is, how does Bigger Pockets differentiate itself? Well, no, that's not the question. The question is, how is Bigger Pockets different from other such organizations? Because like I said, there's so many of them all over the place that claims to want to help the real estate investor.
Because Bigger Pockets is not about me. Bigger Pockets is about the users, right? It's not about Josh, founder. It's not about Brandon Turner, our podcast host. It is about the community, right? So when you go to these other places, you're going to get one opinion from one person, right? And their way of doing things, their secret sauce, all that kind of stuff. On Bigger Pockets, you're going to get 20 different intelligent opinions, 1.2 million different intelligent opinions disagreeing on the right tactics to go about investing in real estate, right? We saw the panel this morning, right? All four of those guys are smart guys who disagree. All four of those guys are on Bigger Pockets. Well, at least three of them are on Bigger Pockets. And that's what's the magic of Bigger Pockets is it's community driven, and you can absorb it perspective from a variety of very intelligent people, and then conclude and take action for yourself.
Thank you.
Last question. What's my biggest concern about growing the company rapidly? My biggest concern about growing the company rapidly is that we, at some point, misstep and don't think about it from the perspective of leveraging the community. Again, it's not about our staff, it's not about me, it's not about any of the individual personalities on the platform. It is about the community at large and allowing that to provide the value to each other. So I think that if we attempt to steer everybody to one company or one product or one service or one agent or one lender, that's where we begin acting against our users' aggregate best interests instead of moving away from there. So I think it's always important to make sure that that's not ever accidentally being done. I think, does that answer your question? Great.
And actually, yeah, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up there. So thank you so much, Scott Trench, for coming out to share with us about Bigger Pockets. Again, the inspiration, the entire event. So thank you so much. Okay, folks, keep your asses in your seats. We got something else coming up now. All the folks from the other rooms are coming over. All the speakers who are donating items, if you can please come over to this wall over here. I mentioned earlier, part of our event, what we're here to do is to help other people out. There's a lot of successful people in this room. And actually, I want to say, who's doing okay in real estate? Who's actually doing a pretty good job? Raise your hand. It's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna sweat you a little bit. But basically, what we're here to do, we got a bunch of successful people who've all gathered together to learn, to network, and we want to help other people out too. So again, we have orphanages in Southeast Asia that we've been supporting. One of the big ones is Duke's Son. Again, Arlen and I actually went to go visit the orphanages, the kids, see what they're up to. So hoping to support hundreds of children. In addition, so for Bigger Pockets members out there, Jay Heinrichs, Brian Burke, and a variety of other folks from Bigger Pockets started a Heroes Home. And basically, their goal is to provide housing for veterans that have that need. So now we're going to split the money between these different charities. I wasn't sure if maybe, Jay, do you want to share kind of maybe just the inspiration behind a Heroes Home? How you guys got it together? I appreciate it.
Yeah, hi everybody. Every Christmas I usually will think about something that I'm going to do. Oh, the spotlight there. Some charitable thing that I've done. And over the years I've given away many, many homes to Habitat to Humanity, local churches and things like that. And I got to thinking about some of the homes that I'd given away. and then I would go back 2 or 3 years later, and they weren't quite in the condition that I was pleased to see. So I got to thinking about having more of a direct impact to where we could choose someone through a selection committee and give a home away to somebody and have more of a direct connection with whoever received the home. And then on top of that, I wanted to, have more of a working in choosing the home, what community, and then having 100% of the money that we raise go to the home, not have a charity that's burdened with a big overhead and a manager who's taking a big fee and stuff like that. So I thought of that around Christmas a year ago, emailed Brian Burke and said, hey, I got this idea, what do you think? Emailed Chris Clothier, hey, I got this idea, what do you think? Everybody was a resounding yes within about 15, 20 minutes. Then all of us being busy real estate folks, I needed an attorney and a CPA that could actually do it. So I got Tom Gimmer, who's an attorney on the East Coast, and Brandon Hall, who's a BP member, who's a CPA. So the 5 of us came together. We created this charity, and we launched it. We've been raising money organically, just through word of mouth and whatnot. We've gotten about halfway to our goal. We're hoping to, get there in the next 90 days or so. And our first home will be Memphis. Chris Clothier from Memphis Invest will acquire the home, do the rehab, and once we can prove the model successfully, then my goal is to take it from different parts of the country. And I just thought that, with being on Bigger Pockets a little bit like I am, that if I could kind of spread the word, and we would get a lot of real estate people that have been blessed and would want to help in this endeavor. So that's how this became a charity, and we look forward to actually implementing it.
Thank you so much. And again, so we have a Heroes Home, and we're also going to be supporting these orphanages again. That we actually went out and saw what they're doing. So to support hundreds of kids, support veterans who have fought for our country. I think it's just really special that we have everyone together to be able to do this. So, without further ado, we're going to get this auction going. This is why I think it's important, not only to be able to support all these great charities, be careful about standing in front of the speaker, not only supporting all these charities, but actually having a unique experience and be able to connect with these speakers. So, I found mentors. I think the most important thing, right, is networking and finding those people who are going to be able to take you to the next level. All these speakers up here have started wherever you're at and blown way past it. So be able to pick their brain, to be able to have some time, those are the things that can change your mindset, to change your business. Like, why do people pay, $30,000, to go to Grant Cardone's 10 times thing? Well, if you can actually grow your business 10 times, it's a small drop in the bucket to pay, right? So what we're encouraging people to do is have this unique experience with speakers. There's going to be various conference calls with speakers, unique opportunities to go out and meet them, go to on-site deals. In addition, with each of these auctions, you will get a ticket to the speaker dinner tonight. So we have just the speakers and meetup leaders having a kind of a private dinner, so we don't get, we can't do it with 300 people, but there's no other opportunity to get this. So with each of these, again, you're gonna be able to go, it's from 7 to 9 p.m. tonight. You're gonna be able to hang out and pick the minds of all the speakers and meetup leaders that are going to the dinner. It's here, 7 to 9 p.m., right over here. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring Scott Trench up first. Where's Scott? Ladies, round of applause. Anyways, just here. Again, we need bigger pockets. This is what the conference all started with in the first place. Scott, I think a lot of people know who you are, and we printed out what you were talking about, and what we kind of summarize is it's a whole package here. Can you read that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I just let you go ahead and announce it if you want.
Yeah, so if you buy me, you'll get to spend a day at Bigger Pockets headquarters in Denver, and you can hang out with me for 2 hours, talk about whatever you like. We'll give you the complete library of every single Bigger Pockets publication of books in your preferred format, obviously physical as well. a year of pro membership at Bigger Pockets, and then a TBD list of swag depending on what we have at the office at the time of your visit, including t-shirts, maybe a cool Patagonia, and maybe some other cool stuff as well.
So it's an awesome package, right? Yeah, please. All right. So I don't know if my microphone's working here. Okay, there we go. J. Scott, what do you want to start bidding off?
Okay, so just to piss off Scott and make him have to spend some time with me, I'm going to start the bidding at $1,000. I'm bidding $1,000 for this package. Anybody want to go higher? 1,100?
1,100. Got 1,000, 1,100.
1,100, 1,200, 1,500. I want to see 15. 1,500. Come on.
1,500.
Get to spend a couple hours with this guy right here. Go to Bigger Pockets headquarters. He may even let you get on the podcast.
All right.
I can't promise that, but he may let you get on the podcast. He may let you host a podcast. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out. So who wants the opportunity to potentially maybe be able to convince this guy to host the Bigger Pockets podcast?
And we'll get a speaker dinner ticket too. For
Speaker
tonight.
dinner.
1,200, we're looking for 13. 1,200, looking for 13.
1,300. Come on, 1,300. 1,300. 1,400. 1,400.
1,300 going on 14.
14, 14,
Going
14.
once.
I'll make you a deal. I'm going to throw in a half hour on the phone with me. You can talk about anything you want. Or you can spend an extra half hour with Scott if you prefer.
13, anyone 14?
1,400.
13, anyone 14?
Come on.
You get something?
Come on.
Going once.
1,400. Somebody.
Going twice. Sold. That's a Luke right there. Luke, thank you. Please, round of applause for Luke. Thanks for our event. Coming out to the speaker dinner. Little volunteers can go over to Luke, get his information. I actually know him. He came and visited me in Colombia when I was down there in Medellin, so I can come break his knees. Don't worry too much about that one. Next up, I think Matt Faircloth, unless Kathy's right here. Kathy, come on up on stage. So Kathy Fettke, for those of you who didn't see her, she really studies the economy, which I love, and is investing all over. She's building this deal at Reno that they just did with cash instead of borrowing money to kind of lower the risk, build it out, get the profit, reinvest, which I love that model. And again, I'm kind of thinking about going out of state. Kathy is just going to, actually what we talked about is either you can have a 1-hour phone consultation with her. You can go down to Malibu and stay at a tiny home that she has down in Malibu for a weekend, which is super cool. I don't know if you know, one of the most famous Airbnbs is this Airstream up on a hill in Malibu that goes for $600 a night. But she's got a tiny home, so maybe she'll be competing with them. So you can have 1 hour with her, tiny home for the weekend in Malibu, or you can actually be interviewed on her podcast for Real Wealth Network. I'm not sure how many subscribers you have, but a shitload.
A lot.
It's a shitload, yeah, a lot. I'm sorry about her terms. So anyway, you get one of those three things. So
We're going to start the bidding just to piss off Scott because I bid 1,000 on him. I'm going to bid 1,100 on Kathy.
all right,
1,100.
All right.
1,100. We need 12. So you get any of these things plus a speaker dinner ticket. 1,000. We need 1,100. 1,000. We need 1,100.
Come on. Nobody wants to be interviewed on Kathy.
Where's
There
Brian
you
Burke? There we go. All right, Al Williamson. All right, he's got 1,100. You want to do 12, Charles? 1,200.
1,300.
13. Who else we got here?
Darren Sager,
13.
1,300.
Darren got
1,400.
13. Who's got 14? 13. Who's got 14? 13. Who's got 14? 1,300. Going once. Going
Nope. We want 14. We're not going until we get 14. Somebody say 14. 14. Come on. Okay, I'm doing 14. Next. I want 15. Somebody do 15.
Al, Darren, what's the topic? 14, going 15. 1,500 from Al Williamson in the back.
There you go. Al. 16. Anybody 16? You're gonna let Al win this?
Actually, Kathy, can you do 2 of them?
Sure.
Yeah?
There we go.
You got 2? Are you guys both up for it?
I'll do it, but I want another 15 because I don't want to do this. I want to save my money. But I'll be happy to do it. Come on. Anybody else want to do 15?
15
Darren,
from
15.
Darren,
There's the 2.
All right, let's do it. Both of you are winners. Please, big round of applause for Al Williamson and Darren Sager. And you guys can pick what it is that you want to do. So we'll get you in contact with Kathy. We know both these guys. Please write down their names. Thank you so much, Kathy, for donating. I really appreciate it. All right. Next up, Matt Faircloth. Please come on up here. Matt hasn't actually spoken yet, but he wrote the book for Bigger Pockets Publishing, I believe it is, on raising private capital. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about the size of the deals he's done, number of transactions purchased, and all that noise.
Jack. Is that on? Hey, there we go. All right. So, who in this room either is committed to buying a multifamily this year, or just who's going to buy a multifamily for the first time or for their second or third time in 2019? Raise your hand. Raise them high.
Raise them high, or if
Be
you're
proud.
investing in a
I'm going to do it this
syndication.
year, right? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. We own several multifamily properties, and there's a lot of theoretical education you can get in multifamily. There's a lot of books you can read. There's a lot of great speakers that are here this weekend. They can teach you a lot of theory of owning multifamily. But what I'm going to give you is real-life boots-on-the-ground application of owning multifamily. Here's what I'm going to offer up, okay? I've got assets in Kentucky, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Also New Jersey, but you don't want to go see the ones in New Jersey. So here's what I will do. For 2 days, you can come and join me and my asset management team walking a multifamily, either looking at something that we're going to buy or something we already own. For 2 days, you will shadow me and my asset manager. You'll meet my property managers. You will look at new deals that we're considering looking at. You'll interview my asset manager. You'll meet my contractors. You'll see how I evaluate deals.
I'm not his asset manager, even though he's pointing at me.
Yeah, right. No, I'm just, as if they were over here, right? So we'll go out to dinner afterwards and we'll talk shop. You'll have full access to me for 2 days straight, okay? And as I said, the assets are likely going to be in Lexington, Kentucky, Fayetteville, North Carolina, maybe somewhere in Pennsylvania, but the Lancaster County area of Pennsylvania, that's where we're doing business right now. So you've got to get yourself there and put yourself up, but we'll take it from there and we'll give you boots on the ground education in the field, meeting these people, looking at real assets. Whether you guys own properties or not, own multifamily or not, I will be committed that you will see hands-on how this conversation goes, seeing value add, seeing apartments getting turned, meeting the contractors that are doing the work, and maybe even looking at some assets for yourself during the way. That's what I've got, and it's more than a phone call or whatever, it's just 2 days straight hanging out with me. And running around high energy looking at lots of properties. That's what I've got for the auction. Okay. And I'm also doing $1,000 match. I'll go up to $1,000 to match whatever you guys pay for this, okay? Out of my own pocket. So that's my offer on top because how committed I am to the charities that you guys are putting together.
I appreciate it so much.
Okay.
So again, if you don't, we get to $1,000, there's going to be another $1,000 that comes in.
I want to start the bidding really, really low because I want to get you guys into this thing.
Yeah, I was going to start the big low because I'm really not interested.
Just to be
That's good. Don't bid. Let's see what.
So let's start at
Let's start the bidding at $100. I'm serious. $100.
$100. We got Alex up there, $100.
$100. Who's in for $100?
200. We got 300 in the back over there. 400 over here. 500. We got 500 from John Barnett. Who's got 6? 6 back there. Who's got 7? 7 over here. 8 from Tarl. Who's got 9? 8. Who's got 9? Was that
Boots on the ground, guys.
Let's
Let's go look at some multifamilies together.
We got 800. Who's got 9? We got to get at least $1,000. It's going to go to 2. 900 from Anthony Desi. 1,000 up here in front. Is that
David Van Horn in the
back? In the back? We got 1,000 up here. Anyone 1,100? Got 1,000. Anyone 1,100?
David Van Horn raises his hand in the back.
Anthony for 1,100. All right, we got Anthony for 1,100. He's got 12.
David Van Horn's 12 now. David Van Horn, 1,200.
I think we had 1,200 down here, yeah? 1,200 down here. You want to do 13?
I need to point something out here. So how many of you here would pay for a weekend seminar with 20 or 30 or 40 other people and spend $5,000 or $10,000 on a weekend seminar with some guru you've never heard of?
I know Charles. Even better. Who did do that?
Yeah,
I'll turn myself in. I did do that. Right?
This is 2 full days. You're not sharing the time with anybody.
All right, so we got 1,200 down here, 13, 1,200 here, 13, 13 from Anthony, 14, 15.
Who wants to learn
14,
how to underwrite a multifamily
15, you
property?
got 16, 16, 17.
Yeah, you'll talk
16,
to my
we got
underwriter
16.
too.
What's that? We got 1,600 down here, 17, 1,600 down here.
I'm going to throw something in on this one.
Okay.
If we get a higher bid now, somebody bids a little bit higher, I'll pay for your plane ticket to Philly.
Oh,
there you go.
Woo! Wow.
How much is a plane ticket?
It's probably not to Philadelphia. It's probably to Kentucky or North Carolina.
Wherever it is.
Wherever you're
We have
going, you'll fly.
1,800.
Let's get over 2,000. That's
Yeah.
he just threw in like
2,000
$400 or $500 right there.
2,000 got the plane ticket, Anthony. Yeah. 2,000 and includes the plane ticket, so now you don't have to pay it. So you can, go up a few $100 more. 1,800.
Come on, we can get 2,000. Somebody say 2,000. Raise your hand.
1,800.
Boots on the ground. 2 days, boots on the ground, guys. You're not going to learn this work unless you get dirty and get your hands in it.
All right. 1,800. Going once. Going
If your
twice.
favorite color is blue, raise your hand. Do I have 2,000? We have 2,000.
Go
Okay,
ahead, 19. It
we
was
already have
18.
18. We had 18. 19?
19. Do you want to do 2? You already paid for the flight before. 1,900, you got 2,000? 2,000. You want to do 21? 2,000, 21? I know you're talking about it. 2,000, 2,100. Raise your hand. 2,000 going once. It's down here. 2,000 going twice. Do you want to do 2,100? 2,100. 2,100. Going once. Going twice. 21. Oh, 22. Oh, shit. Anthony, 22. You're going to do 23? 23. Includes the plane ticket.